in a little bit. So if you have a Zoom or if you're working on something, just yeah, get ready. I'll give you the instructions. I just want to let you know my camera's a little off, and I'm looking at you through my bifocal, so I don't mean to be like trying to look down on anybody. But I'll get back to my other camera setting next week. Okay. So we want to get these streams out because they're going live. So there's an introduction, and we don't have any ads during the show. So bear with me here, but we're going to tell you all about the Reinventing Network, some of the other live shows that we have going on, our sponsors, and then we will get into Drawing with James. It's awesome. If you haven't seen any of these previous Drawing for Tattooers shows, definitely go to the YouTube and do a search for them because you'll want to start coming in from start to finish. Sounds like people are beaming in. So let me, get on with the introduction here. Okay, this would be where we would cut officially, right? Okay, welcome to Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo community, where tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious are all encouraged to join into these live streams, to watch the on-demand replays, to meet up and learn and inspire each other in real-life events that we're actually having these days. Ultimately, to share with each other and create better art and tattoos together. We're beaming out 5 days a week, and with your help have evolved into a quality network of live and on-demand tattoo and art shows that's pretty much been receiving rave reviews. We're always open for constructive criticism. But yeah, everyone seems to be digging them so far, and we're all having a lot of fun improving them for you. Now, not sure where you're beaming in from, so let me give you the quick list of where you can always find Reinventing. Either of the app stores. That's the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. Just do a search for Reinventing the Tattoo. Same with YouTube. Do a search for Reinventing the Tattoo channel. And the Roku, if you have a Roku, then if you do a search for Reinventing the Tattoo and download the Roku channel, or go to reinventingthetattoo.com/Roku, ROKU, then we have, I think, 12 to 15 channels of all of these shows going 24/7. It's pretty crazy. And I'll show you a little preview of it in a second during our screen share. We're also going out on the podcast. So anywhere there's a podcast store, that's Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google, all that, just do a search for Reinventing the Tattoo, and yeah, you'll find it. Now, no matter where you are with all of these outlets, you could always find the latest and great. James, I need to be able to screen share.
Sure thing.
You could always find the latest and greatest at reinventingthetattoo.com. And I'm going to do a little screen share action here, so I'll give you a little quick, very quick tour here. So as I was saying earlier, if you're a tattooer or an apprentice or just somebody who's interested in drawing, you could always come to the homepage of reinventingthetattoo.com. And if we scroll down here, hey, look at that. We'll see Drawing for Tattooers with James Wisdom, episode number 13. Hopefully this will be a lucky 13, right? Anyways, point is, if I click this button, we'll get some crazy Inception stuff going on. We're going to yell at Kyle to get that chat thing going. And if you keep scrolling down, we have our other shows. The Tattoo Weekly is coming up next at 11 o'clock in the morning. We have Let's Talk About Feelings with Robert Whipple at 5 o'clock Eastern. This is a replay from the Skill Building Sundays with Jason Leeser. Happens every Sunday. And as you can see here, you can just click on any of the replays. It's pretty awesome. And here we have our Reinventing 24/7, so replays of your favorite shows all day. Looks like this is a Reinventing the Tattoo design with Russ Abbott and Brad Wooten. Damon Conklin's in here. This was a pretty fun one for sure. But as you can see, we have multiple channels here. This is the replay channel with the Reinventing Drawing groups. This one here is with Jason Leeser. Check this out. We have a Spanish channel, which is pretty amazing. So if you speak Spanish or know somebody, these are all interviews and art jams in Spanish. Live in a Castro is with Haley Adams. So she's beaming out from the heart of the Castro in San Francisco. So it's all LGBTQ plus people of color, all sorts of awesome interviews with people. We've got a Tattoo Machine channel, a Tattoo Convention channel. Oh, it looks like this is a replay of the history of tattoo conventions with Mickey Valletta, the fellow who ran the London Tattoo Convention forever. We have our marketplace for our sponsored channels. That one here is a business Zoom, so we got everybody together. I think Lauren from Raw Pigments put this one together. Our community channel. And this is pretty crazy. Thanks again, everybody, for making this happen. And with 13 episodes, I think we need to have our Drawing for Tattooers channel up here on the Roku pretty soon. Anyways, okay, so we have our community channel. So this is for benefits and whatnot. Our tattoo history channel, which is amazing. All interviews with the current elders of tattooing and our drunk critique channel, which is probably against our better judgment. But this one's the holiday drunk critique hosted by Bob Tyrell. They are a lot of fun. Please don't take any of it seriously. It is drunk critique. Sometimes it goes on for like 8 hours, 9 hours. And the rule is you have to be drinking while watching, I suppose. Okay, now we get to the spot where if you are wanting to join in, we are at the event schedule, and you can see all of our other upcoming Reinventing the Tattoo Network events. This one here is Drawing for Tattooers with James Wisdom. Artists, zoom in here. And again, I'm not going to click on it because if I did, we would be, yeah, again, doing some crazy loops while we're going live. We don't want to do that. And wrap up here. Free resources. There's free tattoo courses, but we don't actually teach anybody to tattoo for free online, of course. But we have the history of electric tattooing, which is amazing. Jay from the Northwest Tattoo Museum has put in together extensive, again, museum quality lessons and presentations on all of these different historical tattooers. And I can't thank Jay enough. If you are grumbling that your apprentices and younger tattooers don't know their history, then you better be reading up on this quick, because they are now, and they have all this history that they could catch up on. If you are mentoring somebody, you should be making sure that they read through all that. Anyways, there's a lot of other amazing stuff there on reinventingthetattoo.com. Let me hit up our sponsors real quick so that we can get started with the show. It's already 9:07 here. Okay. I'm going to skip past some of these real world events. We're not doing very many of them at this point. And here we go. Sponsors. Raw Pigments. Rawpigments.co is the ink company that's getting their pigments straight from the source. They are acrylic free, so they don't dry out in the cup. I think that's why they don't dry out in the cup. I don't know if it's causation or correlation. One way or another, they are acrylic free. They do not dry out in the cup. A lot of the people that have been trying them out, they've been sticking with. So yeah, check out their videos. Do a search for them online on the YouTubes. Lauren's got a lot of interviews. WorldTattooEvents.com. Alex Van Dutch, who also has interviews on the network here for the history. I think that Mickey was with that Mickey interview was with Alex for the history of tattoo conventions. In any event, WorldTattooEvents.com is the largest and most comprehensive resource for tattoo events worldwide. He's updating it all the time with the conventions that are happening and the conventions that are being rescheduled. Check it out. D-Lyze Pro is a healing wrap. It's known as Dermalyze worldwide, D-Lyze Pro in the United States. And yeah, they want you to protect your art. If you are using saran wrap, just know that's not breathable, right? It's designed to not breathe. And D-Lyze Pro Dermalyze worldwide it's breathable. So you wrap it up, it's designed to actually heal wounds like this. Saran wrap kind of isn't. In any event, again, check out videos. There's a ton of world-class tattooers that are using Dermalyze, so you could check out what it's about. Tattoo Now, I do technology for tattooers. I kind of am a part-time CTO for a bunch of different studios. And I just upgraded Tattoo Now. I have some pretty amazing software to roll out. I've been combining a bunch of different technologies as well, it's kind of what I've been doing. Like I said, I've been doing it for 25 years. If you're interested, longevity.tattonow.com has the latest and greatest sales of what we're doing, right? And so I spent years trying to get tattooers busy and getting tattooers busy. These days, it seems like most everyone is busy. I can still do that, but I've been mostly focused on streamlining communications so that when there's any frictions of back and forths with emails and all that stuff, we could go through personalized automated systems. It's amazing. So it is personalized, but you're able to communicate with people at scale. And I know tattooers end up talking to a lot of people, so I could help you with that. Okay, GuyAitchison.com. Guy Aitchison is the founder of the Reinventing the Tattoo Network. Started off as a 3-ring binder. He evolved it into some crazy books, like massive books, and then books and DVDs. And then I helped him bring it online about 10 years ago. And now it's this, well, not only is it this network of shows, but it's also the professional development network for tattooers and apprentices. We have over 20 different guest teachers that are involved with it. Again, that's Reinventing the Tattoo. I'm talking about GuyAitchison.com. Go there. His artwork will blow you away. He's got his own books. He's got DVDs, paintings. It's awesome. Okay, I'm going to hop in the background here. Please leave all of your positive reviews out in those channels that I was talking about, because even though Reinventing the Tattoo is, well, it's old, not old, but it's always keeping up, but it's over 2 decades. A lot of these channels are brand new, and all those positive reviews really help. We love the constructive criticism, so management, at reinventingthetattoo.com, or if you're interested in sponsoring any of these shows or real world events or bringing them to your conventions, yeah, management at reinventingthetattoo.com. How are you doing, James? Thanks for getting up early again every Monday like clockwork. I love these exercises.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Gabe. Thanks for reading the announcements this time. I need a little bit of work on it, but
Oh, no problems.
here.
Unfortunately, the only way to work on it's to do it again and again and again. So while I have alleviated some of the pressure and you don't have to rewatch yourself, the only way to do it is to get through it. And believe you me, I'm not a SAG actor. I fucking hate this shit every morning. I try to dodge it as much as I can, which is why sometimes I make you do it. I don't make you do it. You graciously do it in my absence.
No, it's an amazing experience to do this and to work with you and to work with Guy and all the rest of the reinventing crew. And I really also I love it when people get a chance to zoom in to these exercises too. I think it's the more the merrier, right? So thanks, Gabe.
Oh, absolutely. And to your point, every Monday at 9 o'clock, we're doing these. So if you are an artist and you're watching one of the replays, you can just put it in your calendar. Just don't be a jerk. You can't beam in and be a jerk. We do have terms and services and stuff.
Yeah, community guidelines, right?
So far, so good. Well, hey, I'll hop in the background and thanks again. This is amazing. Every Monday. Welcome, Harriet.
Harriet, hi. You're muted. Here, we can unmute you. Here, ask you to unmute. Uh, click the microphone.
I got it.
Okay, good. Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, it's really great to see you. So, and then we have Nicole in the call as well. Welcome, Nicole. And hopefully we'll have a few other artists come and join us today too, because we're really going to have an exciting episode of Drawing for Tattooers this morning. So let's see here. I can. Right. Okay, good. Well, I think what I'd like to. Oh, I see, I got somebody else. So let me see here. Cool. Right, and then Elise has joined us. Welcome, Elise. So great to have you. Yeah.
Jason Leeser's in the chat room. He says good morning. So does Geraldo Romero. Good morning, everybody. Again, if you guys want to beam in, reinventingthetattoo.com right there on the homepage. Scroll down to the events links.
Yeah. Good morning, gang. It's so great to have you. I don't have the chat up. There's good morning, Nicole. I don't have the chat up. I'm usually sort of like I'm busy like talking about stuff and and trying to manage everything. But I'll get better at it and try to be more try to be more attentive to all of these aspects. It really is it's an amazing opportunity for us, that we can gather even though we're not really together. We're together. So it's something that I'm really grateful for, and it's really great to have everybody here today. So well, I think probably a great way to start is, I'm going to tell you about what we're going to draw today. We're going to draw our coffee mugs. Right? We're going to draw a coffee mug. So if you don't, if you have a coffee mug, go ahead, run and grab it. I'll be showing one on the screen, so you can always draw mine from the screen if you want. But yeah, if you got a coffee mug, get your favorite mug, or some sort of cylinder. You could also use like a roll of tape would be a suitable substitution for what we're going to practice today and the things we're going to work on. So take a moment, go ahead and get yourself together, get your supplies together. I'm going to be drawing analog, so on paper and pen. But if you're going to be drawing digitally, that's totally fine. I think everything we're going to talk about today is really applicable to to any way that you like to draw. So let's see. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, perfect. So let's see here. So if you've got your paper and your pencils, why don't we get warmed up and we'll practice with our ellipses, right? Let's warm up with that because that's always I always find that to be a lot of fun. It really kind of wakes up my mind and my body, kind of really connects the physical act of drawing to, just to my imagination. So let me see here. I'm going to change my camera. I'm also having a bit of a technical difficulty with my microphone today. So if you can't hear me, please let me know. So there's a coffee mug. Yeah, that's what we're gonna draw, but we'll get there in just a minute. So let's see here. Alrighty, let me get my paper. Cool. And I've got a pen. And so today, for our ellipse practice, I want to try something. Maybe I don't know if we've tried it or not, but it's going to be a concentric. Let's see. It's going to be concentric ellipses, right? So we're going to try to put ellipses inside of ellipses, and it'll make sense as we go. But you may end up discovering that it grows at this incredible rate, right? As soon as you start making them, they really start to spread out. But I think the way to think about it is it's like a ripple in a pond, something like that. Okay, so we'll get started. I'll try to get my arm warmed up here, see if I can do it. Okay, great. All right, so start here in the middle for myself. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No pressure here, right? We're just getting warmed up. 9. Just go around the track a couple times. 9, 10. Get a little bit off there. 10. 11. I'm off the page. Cool. 12. 13. 14. 15. 16. 17. 18. One more. 19. Terrible. All right. 20. 21. 22. 23. 24. 25. 26. That's about that page is about had it, huh? All right. 27. 28. 29. 30. 31. 32. 33. 34. 35. 36. 37. That was a nice one. 38. 39. 40. 41. 42, 43, 44, 45. And I'm gonna give it a try with the other hand, and just I like to do that at the end of the end of the ellipse practice. Just see if I can use my other hand. So 46, 47, 48, 49, terrible, and 50. All right. Good. Awesome. It's I guess I just I really love this form, and for me it's quite elusive. It can be difficult and challenging to really make it accurate when you need it to be. So practicing it over and over again, just like Gabe was saying, we got to practice the introduction, right? Practice the script. You got to practice your ellipses. You got to practice your your mark making. You got to practice your tattooing. So all that stuff, practice is key. So all right, very nice. So yeah, there's my that's the coffee mug I sketched out, for us today, just to sort of give us a little bit of preview of what we're going to do. Last week we talked about how to develop a cylinder, and so feel free to review that if you'd like. We're going to go over it again today, but to start off with, I wanted to give us just a little bit of background information, so that way we can start to think about how these ellipses work, because obviously we're looking at this drawing, and we're looking at the object, and we can sense that there's a particular height to this object. It's represented by height. There's also a representation of width, but there's a depth too. There's 3 dimensions that are present. And with this particular object, this coffee mug, a big part of the point is to be able to represent the void, right? To try to represent the space that is inside of it, right? All of the walls hold this negative space, and that's what holds your coffee. But at the same time, it can be challenging, to draw this really simple object. So just to start to think about it in different ways, take this off for a bit. And here's put that there so we can kind of an example to think about. Okay, so this is my example of how we can think about ellipses in perspective, and some of the mystery of it, some of the what makes it so magical. Let's talk about it a bit. Over here on the left, I have a square with a circle inside of it. Now, this square, the circle fits inside of the square, and particularly, the circle is going to touch at these particular points, right? We covered that before. They're tangential, so they're points of tangency where the circle specifically touches the square. Well, this is in 2 dimensions, right? So we're thinking about there's a width, and then there's also this height, right? So 2 dimensions. Well, if we took that square and we sort of pushed it down, and we had a 3-dimensional representation, right? We still have the same sort of thing, right? We're still thinking about there's a height, there's a certain width to it, but now there's a sense of push, there's a sense of depth that we're starting to get at. And so here's the tricky part, right? Here's the tricky thing. These points on the 2-dimensional model here, they all align, right? So where they touch here on the outside is in a line with this center, right? So we found the center, right, of this 2-dimensional form, or shape rather. But when we come over here to perspective and we start thinking about like the depth of it, something strange occurs, right? And so there's a certain anatomy to an ellipse where there's always this relationship of a long axis, right? That's always in the center, right? And then there's also this short one, right? Those are always present inside the ellipse. Well, you can see that the geometrical center, right, is there, but corresponding to these red crosshairs, this is the center in perspective. It's a little bit further back, right? So that's the special secret, right, to drawing, any sort of ellipse in perspective, right? And so we're looking at our, at our coffee mug or at our example, over there. The very center, right, of this shape, very center of that form, it's not right in the middle in perspective. It's actually just a little bit further back. And that kind of makes sense because this portion is presumably closer to our eye, so it's going to look a little bigger. This part is a little further back, so it's going to feel a little bit smaller. And so it can get pretty complicated, I think, to try to find this, this perspectival center. So you can kind of eyeball it. I think that's really it's a good way to sketch it. And if you want to get more technical with it, I mean, you can keep working with it and see if you can find your center and see if you can't, use it, because there's so many ways to apply it. This simple cylinder, just imagine the different ways that you could use it. I like to think about, like, if I'm drawing, tires for a vehicle or something, or if I have to draw like a stack of coins for, some sort of design. There's a long list of things that you could, a long list of ways that you could sort of apply this. And so that's just, that's the lesson for today. That's the thing that I wanted to sort of emphasize was, there is this relationship, right, between the 2-dimensional and the 3-dimensional. But, when you're thinking about perspective, you always want to give that sense of depth. And the way to really do that is to sort of, make sure that the front is coming towards us, right? Make sure that the back is going away. In this instance, right, I can see that, I've got eye level up here, and I've got, I've got some lines of perspective going on. Again, some lessons that we've also covered, but but this is the thought here, right? This horizontal line is eye level. Right, and eye level is the height of your eye, right? So wherever you're looking at, it's the height of your eye to the ground, and then there's the vanishing point. So, so it's a fun thing to practice, just like our ellipses. Again, not something to hold you back, something to something to help you propel yourself forward. So, all right, well, why don't we go ahead and we'll get in and we'll sketch out this. Try to sketch this coffee mug and see how it goes. So, all right. So
sounds good. Should we go around and introduce the people who are beaming in while we start drawing?
Love that, Gabe. So if all of you would like to, please feel free to unmute yourselves, and I'll ask you all to unmute. And if you want, you could just say say who you are and where you're calling from. That'd be great to know.
Okay. I can start because I'm at the end on my list. I'm Harriet, and I'm calling from around Nashville, Tennessee.
I'm Elise, and I'm calling from Chicago, Illinois.
Awesome. And do you want to talk a little bit about what your experience drawing is and how you ended up here? Or give us a little bit more. Just we need to go on forever, but.
I was in James's class at my college, so yeah, I just need to like brush up on my drawing. So because I'm a 3D artist and I don't draw that often, really.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, I've got no artistic talent at all, which is a shame because James is my son and I wish I did, but I'm going to learn from him. from this series of lessons.
Awesome. Oh, and then Nicole, could you, oh, there you go, perfect.
Hi, yeah, sorry, it's terrible trying to do Zoom on my phone. I should have did it on my iPad. Hi, I'm Nicole Ritchie. I live in Fall River, Mass. Sorry, I'm very nervous. I just jumped on this very spontaneously.
Thank you.
I've been listening to you guys. I listen to all your podcasts. I'm actually a self-taught artist. I'm learning to tattoo. I'm self-taught. I just tattoo myself though, my boyfriend. And I've been drawing all my life. Really since in kindergarten, I remember I like drawing portraits. I kind of fell off a lot as an adult, just working a retail job. I'm trying to get back into art, so I look up to you guys, to learn more and stuff like that. So
Awesome. Well, thanks again for having the courage to be men. It's not easy. None of us are SAG actors or anything. So
yeah. So, but it's really cool. I've always wanted to jump on, and today I just randomly thought of it. I work overnights, so all day I usually just sleep. But I thought of it today randomly, and I see what you had for events, and I really just I looked at like 30 minutes before this started, and I figured I'd hop on. So
awesome. Okay, well, yeah, let's get started drawing some coffee mugs, right? Sorry. Okay, I'm definitely going to be out. Cheers.
No, cheers, Gabe. Thank you so much. Let's see. Yeah, and thank you everybody for coming. It's so great to have you. I think that this is really this is what makes it like a real pleasure, right? Is to have people to draw with, to have a network, to have a community. And so I'm really grateful that you came, and yeah, and thanks Gabe for prompting us to say what's up to the gang here. So all right, let's start thinking about this object. Okay. Ooh, we in? Okay. All right, so I've got this coffee mug here, and I'm going to sketch it out first. I'm going to use a lighter color, and I'll start going over it in darker tones, and that way I'll try to differentiate it from the background. But I wanted to show a technique that I've shown and I use a lot when I'm drawing from life, and that's the measuring, right? That's how to visually measure. And so again, you can use your pencil, or you can use like a chopstick, or even even a knitting needle. There's a lot of different objects you can use, but the point is that you want to visually compare. And with this particular technique, we're comparing the height and the width. So particularly, I think this works out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold my pen, and I'm gonna close one eye, right? That's important. And I want to try to, let's see, I'll try to line it up for you so you can see it. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to align the tip of the pen with the outside edge of this coffee mug, and then I'm going to use my thumb to determine like the bottom of it, right? And so I'm just measuring the ellipse at the top of the mug, and I'm just going to give it a quick I'm going to count how many of these amounts are in the overall height. So there's this one, 2. I'll try to align my pen to where my thumb was. 2, 3, just maybe 4. Let's see. So 3 of this amount that goes into the overall height, right? This is a different dimension, right? The void in the mug is depth, right? And then this front edge is the height. But right now they're almost flat to our eyes, so we're just thinking about it. How can we relate these two things? So 1, 2, 3, just maybe a little bit over 4. So 3 of those. All right, and then also I'm going to compare just really quickly the width, just to start to compose this thing. So I'm going to look at it. Again, it's really, for this particular technique, it's really a good idea just to concentrate on the height and the width for doing this measurement. So there's the overall width of the void. I'm gonna try my best to turn it vertically. Yeah, isn't that Isn't that nice? So the overall width for this particular, for my mug, right, corresponds to the height. So I think that's going to be a good way to start. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off, and I'm going to draw a horizontal line. And again, you can make yours lighter and sketchier or do it digitally. I think it's all good. But just want to, try to get this shape, going. And I'll start with some structure, right? So I'm gonna start with the structure. Okie dokie. So I've got this. I want to find the center of this particular line. So what I'm going to do that, this is another technique that you can use, measuring with your hand. So if I use my thumb to mark where the outside edge is, I'm gonna guess, randomly, like, I guess that's the, that's the center. It's not, but we'll double check it, right? So I'm guessing that's the center. And then I want to measure it from the other side, the same amount. Let's see where we end up. Yeah, just a little bit past, right? So, right. Well, it was difficult to discern the center from this longer bit, but because we did 2 measurements, what we're left with, this very center part, that's going to be the center, right? What's between that amount? This is a really useful thing to do when you're sketching or you're drawing from life. You don't have a lot of rulers necessarily going on, so this way you can just do some comparison and sort of find your center. Okay, so let's do another measurement. Let's go back to the object and let's see what's up. So if I think about half of that, oops, sorry, I'll line it up for you all. So if I think about half of that and I compare it, see how close is it? Should be pretty close. About halfway. Let's see. Try to keep your, so for me, it's a little bit awkward, but if you can keep your hand like a consistent distance away, that will also help you with your accuracy. So let's see. And a thinner pencil is also going to help you with accuracy too. So that's about halfway roughly, comparing it to the overall height. So just a little bit. This is just a let's see, what is it? It's a little bit less, right? A little bit less than half of it is going to be, half of that width is going to be the height of this. So I'll take this and I'm just going to estimate, I'll just eyeball it. So let's see. Sorry. Oh, I'm freezing up a little bit. Sorry about that, gang. Take our time and breathe. So overall height of our mug compared to the width, just about half. So what I want to do is I want to, again, to kind of determine half of this, nice, relating the proportions together. And so again, I'll try that technique where I measure. Okay, good. All right, so there's just another amount that I can take. And this is what I'm going to use, this amount here, for the overall width of, or the depth rather, of our mug. So there, that, and just comparing it. Okay, very nice. Yeah, that seems about right. Okay, I'm just going to try to sketch that in just really lightly for you so you can see. The ellipse of the coffee mug is going to fit inside of this space here, right? And remember, we already measured, so we can do this quickly again, right? The overall width of the void in our coffee mug relates to the overall height of our coffee mug, right? It's very close, so we'll just use that. And since this is going to be the bottom of the ellipse, I will just take that amount. Hopefully it fits on my paper. But yeah, roughly there. Mark. Okay, good. take your time and get this, get everything structured. And I think that's going to help you, when you go to do the details and stuff. I wouldn't want to start with the handle in this case, right? Or I wouldn't want to start with the monogram on this coffee mug. Instead, I want to start to think about the whole form and how everything relates to one another. All right, so draw a central axis, right? And then again, I'm going to draw the sides in. How's everybody doing?
Okay,
Working for you?
yeah,
Yeah.
working.
Excellent. Well, that's excellent. Take your time. It's, again, I want to try to simplify this thing. It's, it really is, it's a very simple form. It's something that we see all the time, but I think it can be challenging. How you doing, Elise?
Pretty good.
Excellent. I know you've done this before, so, so hopefully it's a good review. Nicole, how are
Yeah.
you?
I'm doing good. I haven't taken like this kind of scientific feeling like approach to it and since like high school. So it feels good, to do a different way instead of just like going at it, which is what I normally do.
Oh, that's
You know.
that's excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think that the point is to allow you to go at it eventually, but you set yourself up with some parameters, and it can really
Yeah,
help.
like guides in your mind. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. And that use the tools that you have.
Yeah,
The ruler.
absolutely,
Smart.
absolutely. Okay.
I remember trying to learn about perspective in art class, and I don't think I was very good at it. I think I just kind of winged it. So
Well, that sounds familiar to me as well, and I think that it's really something that it's fascinating to me, and I also I want to share it with others, and I think that there's just a lot of value that you can get from being able to represent this types of spaces. So
yeah.
I'm glad you all are enjoying it. Okay, let's get back to what we were doing. So, so we've got this. We know that ellipse, like as we saw, in our other example here, right? I've got these lines here. That ellipse has a long axis, right? And then also it has a short axis, and it's a symmetrical shape, right? It should be symmetrical, and so that's the way to approach it here. So I'm just going to try to sketch it in. It might be a little bit less confident at first, but once I start to have the shape down, I can really move with confidence. I'm trying to draw from the shoulder. Again, I think there's it can really be challenging, to go outside of your comfort zone. I know that I really drew heavily with my wrist and my, this all the time. Again, this can be very useful, right? Just the micro movements of your fingers, and and sometimes you may have to do this sort of a move with your wrist, but the more that you can sort of pull from your arm, lift your arm up a little bit, I think it gives you freedom, to be honest, right? It really it allows your body to do the work just a little bit more. So something to practice. I don't think it's anything to be too self-conscious about, but if you practice it more, I think it can really be very useful. Okay, well, so I've got the ellipse on the top of the mug, and then there's another ellipse down here at the bottom of the mug. Well, I can't really see it, so I can't do all the measurements and stuff that I was doing before. So in order to discover like how wide to make it, we're going to try another technique, right? So we're going to measure, or we're going to sight an angle. And so essentially what we want to do is I'm going to use my drawing implement. What I'm going to do is I want to try to look here to the center of the mug, and then I want to try to align it with this very outside edge, just visually speaking, So I'm going to hold it. And so, before, when we were measuring, we were doing comparative measurement. We were really doing like a height versus a width, right? Well, now what we want to do is we're just trying to sight the angle, right? This isn't measurement. This is just an observation. So I'm going to look and see if I can't find the angle by, the center of the mug to this outside edge where the vertical of the outside is. So, and, roughly like that, I'm gonna bring it down to my paper, right? So try to sight it. And I'm gonna focus on, rather than the center of my pen, I'm gonna try to just use the outside edge because I think that's a little bit more helpful. So I'm thinking about the outside edge of my pen. I'm looking at that like a ruler, closing one eye. This can be really, I think this is really helpful, right? If you remember to close one eye while you're drawing from life, it can be really, really a lot more accurate. So again, I'm gonna do that and bring it down to my paper. Just try to bring it as well down to my paper as I can. Yeah, so roughly like that. So something else that's roughly gonna be the center, right? The center of the ellipse that I'm gonna draw. Something to keep in mind, right? Our eye level is like up here, right? This is the kind of the point where we're looking from. My camera's right here. It's about at the height of my eye. And so we're looking down at this coffee mug, right? It's below our eye level of perspective. So what that indicates is that the bottom of the mug is going to have a wider ellipse, right? The top of the mug is closer, so it's slightly more narrow, and the bottom is going to be a little bit wider. This is really good to keep in mind, I think, if you really want to achieve, some of that illusion of depth. So this is going to be roughly the center, and then I'll do a quick measurement because now I have some structure here. Right, so roughly like that. That's about it. And then I can tell like that this is wider, right? That the short axis of this ellipse is going to be wider than this one. And so I've really kind of captured what I was hoping to capture. All right. So we'll sketch in the next one. If you're drawing a glass, this can be sort of a useful way to go. But also, there may be some refraction. It'll be a topic for another day. There it is. Right. So, I can complete it, right, if I want, but this is a nice sweep, I think, that complements, the sweep of the ellipse up here. Right. And so that's something that I think is, if down here, if this lower ellipse is more narrow than the one that's, closer to our eye level, that can disturb the form, right? That can disturb the illusion of the depth that we're trying to achieve, right? So if you keep that simple relationship in mind, it can really be quite useful. So, all right, good. It's looking pretty good. Okay, well, time for the next challenge, right? Maybe you have a handle on your mug. Maybe you don't. If not, no big deal. I just want to kind of run through, like, how can you determine where to place this handle, and how does it sort of look? It really, comes out into space for us. So, oops, sorry about that. Okay. So again, like we discussed earlier, right? Our center of perspective is a little bit further back than the actual center, right? The actual geometric center, right? Of the long axis and the short axis, long axis, short axis, right? They intersect in the very center of the shape, right? But the perspective's a little bit further back. So I'm gonna eyeball it in this case, technical term, right? Eyeball it, rather than set up all kinds of perspective lines. I'm just gonna use my knowledge, and I'm gonna place that perspective just a little bit further back, right? So I'll try to draw that a little bit more so you can see it, right? So this is my sort of guesstimation of where the perspective center of this shape is going to be, this object. So that's useful. Why? Well, because there's going to be this there's going to be this angle that's related to the handle, right? So if I think about the very center of my, my handle, right? If I draw a line from that towards the center of my mug, right? If I find that angle, just like we found down here, right? We found the angle. So again, we'll find this angle here from the edge of the center of this handle right through the center, because that's the way it's oriented, right? It's, if you look at the mug, it's really sort of, it's like perpendicular to the side, right? The handle is coming right out of the side. So find that by looking, look for you. There we go. Right, so if I align it here through the center, I have this relationship, right? That's where that edge, would go through the center here and then find that center line there. So sighting it, right? Now I can start to structure the location of the handle. So just drawing a straight line down. And then again, I'm going to eyeball the swoop of the ellipse, but, and you could get really technical and measure it, but again, that's probably the top of the mug. And then down here again, that's probably the bottom roughly. Okay. And then good. So also we can just continue this line out, and that will help us sort of structure, like, where does this, I'll draw it sort of blocky for now so we can sort of think about it. But let's see here. Let me try to do an angle here. Roughly something like that. That looks pretty good. All right, here seems to come up just a little bit, right, from where I had it. So I'll lose the lower edge. Yeah, just like this. Okay. So I'm just sort of trying to make myself some structure. I think that sketch through it and bring this around and in. There's the outside edge of the handle. It kind of has a slight, it's almost like slightly heart shaped. So it does sort of, there's this movement, right? It sort of flows in. Okay. And then again, there's going to be a bit of dimension here, but I'm just going to roughly sketch in what the rest of the shape is likely going to be. Yeah. Yeah. Something like that. Something like that. I think that's pretty close, that's pretty close. Again, we can sort of align vertically the edges of the mug. If you're sketching through this, you can sketch through it. You can erase it. If you're using your iPad or doing this digitally, you can, you can put it on a different layer, right? And that might be just a really nice way to give you the structure that you're looking for. Let's see, I'm looking at it. I want to make sure. All right, so for me, from where I'm looking at it, I can see ever so slightly. There's a little bit of edge there. I won't overdo it, but see, just it curls around, and I can see just a little bit of the back side of the, of the handle, right? So something like that. Okay, all right. I want to try to discern this, a little bit more, right? So I'm going to go with a darker color so I can start to give it some a little bit of shape. So, right, and do this other side. And in this instance, a little bit of line quality, a little bit of character to the line. I think you can push it a little bit wider in a few places, and that way you really start to see the form of it, right? Rather than giving everything this consistent line of, you can think about how you can give it a little bit more of definition. So, and I might just sort of bring it just a little bit wider here, make it a little deeper and darker just because you can kind of see there's a little bit of a shadow edge, you know, just sort of at the bottom of the mug. So just to sort of discern it from the bottom. Okay. The top, let's see, I want to try to, this is going away from us. So just try to do it a little bit more thinly so it can sort of push back into the back. In my particular example, the rim of my coffee mug is very dark. So I would have this very dark sort of elliptical shape up here. But, you know, whatever your particular subject is, whatever your mug or cup looks like, you know, I think that's a really kind of an interesting way to sort of think about it, where you give yourself this sense of depth through the line. Right, so I'm just gonna, rather than go through all of the value of it, I'm just gonna give a little bit more oomph, a little bit more emphasis here. Trying to pull this edge a little bit closer to the viewer's eyes, or maybe, you know, thinner back here, a little thicker up here in the front. That'll kind of help give us that, you know, again, accentuate that illusion of depth that we're going for. And also sort of place the perimeter, the contour around the handle. Yeah, something like that. I think that starts to do it. Very nice. And so I think this is, you know, probably a good place to, you know, to sort of, let's check in and see, does anybody want to show their work? Love to see it if you're willing. No pressure.
Okay. I'm not as far as you because I started on the iPad with Procreate and then my pencil stopped working. So I had to switch to paper. So mine is just a straight
Excellent.
up and down.
I think that's really nice. Let's see if I can show yours again. Yeah. So I think let me try to pin. I'm going to try to pin yours so that way I can look at yours a little bit more. I'll remove my pin. All right, so we're looking at yours right now, I believe. No.
That's okay.
Why? Yeah, I don't know why my there it is finally. Sometimes the stream has to catch up to the Zoom call. So yeah. So I think just, you know, if you look at the two sides, I guess I can point at my example again. If you look at this at the edge right here and right there, you just want those to be in alignment, right? And so I think there's just a little bit of one side's just a little lower than the other, and that's that just takes a little bit of getting used to. But you really captured all of the, you know, all the things that we were talking about. The ellipses are looking pretty good, and again, vertical lines, horizontal lines, they can be really tricky. But yeah, really nice work. Plus you caught up, you know, like you had technical difficulties and you still hung in there. So really excellent. Thank you so much. Anybody else?
I'm going on my iPad right now.
Cool.
Let's see.
Oh,
This is how far we are. I'm cheating a little bit because I'm using the grid, but
Wow, it's excellent.
yeah.
Excellent. Great work, Elise. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, very cool. So so again, I think, you know,
I'll show mine if you want. Mine is a little more challenging because it's not as straight. It's kind of bulbous, and it has cat ears. I still have to do the handle, but yeah, this is, I don't know if you can see it, just it's overexposed or not. Yeah, not as far.
no, we can see it. It looks really great, Nicole. So
You get points for cat ears.
This is where I started, and then I was Sharpie, and then I started over. So I normally don't just sketch with Sharpie, so it wouldn't be very clean.
Awesome.
awesome. So I am so proud of all of you. Really excellent work today. This is a really challenging, it's deceptively challenging, I think, you know, and that's why I really try to sort of break down and think about all of the different, elements of this sort of thing. Because again, I think we really take it for granted, right? We really think it's, it's just such a mundane thing, so simple and everyday. But you can capture it, and you can really make it something that's absolutely magical, right? It gives us all of this depth. It gives us all of this presence, and I think that comes through. It comes through the geometry, right? It comes through in the proportions and the relationships. So thank you again, everybody, so much for for drawing along, and I hope this was useful and helpful to you. It's on video, so you can always go back and sort of watch through it again, and watch me struggle through it myself. I think there's again, I hope there's really something that you can take away from this exercise that you find to be useful. So excellent. Yeah, I think that's gonna do it for today's program. So yeah.
You're gonna have to come up with like a clever sign off. Like, wait, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, hey, I got my other camera working now. You'd have to come up with a clever sign off, like, okay, now go kill it every Monday morning or something.
That's a good one.
No, don't kill it. That's a bad metaphor. Bad. Go shine your light, or attract more positive energy. I don't know.
Well, yeah, all of that sentiment I agree with. I'll just wish you all happy drawing, right? And I'll see you all next stream. Thanks again, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
You-